There's one problem that I see 99% of businesses and salespeople and entrepreneurs that make when they're talking about their offering, they're communicating, they're trying to sell to people. And it's simply this. And I want you to think about this. If I was to ask you this right now, what's the problem that you solve? What is the problem that you solve, or what are the problems that you solve? I can almost guarantee you're flinching at that point, and you might give me an around the houses answer and not a nice succinct this is the problem that we solve. And this is an issue. Your ability to articulate the problem that you solve implies your ability to actually solve that problem. And it makes a lot of sense, doesn't it? If I can tell you about the problem that you've got and describe it in detail, it kind of implies I'm experienced and I know about that problem. And that's reassuring for a buyer, because when a buyer is looking to buy from you, they want to see three things. They want to see confidence, certainty, and expertise. And you talking about the problem that you solve hits all of those markers. So in my own business, so I trade as clear sales message, and I often get people smile and say, ha, I know what you do. Maybe they do, maybe they don't. But when I break down to the three actual problems that I solve, not only do I sound like I know what I'm talking about, or hopefully I do, you can be the judge of that, but I can connect with them. Because do you need a clear sales message versus do you have this problem? One of those is going to connect, one not. So the three problems that I solve, I help to simplify complex offerings. I help people to differentiate in a crowded marketplace, and I help to justify the price of a high ticket or an intangible offering. So if somebody sat there saying, I think I know what a clear sales message does, but as soon as I say, these are the problems that I solve, and actually, James, I think it's number one for you, isn't it? Because you've got quite a technical offering. That's where I connect with that person, and that's where the conversation goes forwards. But that's only possible because I've taken the time to articulate the problem that I solve. So what I want you to do is a couple of things that you need to do here. So first of all is you need to have an idea of what is the problem, or what are the problems that you solve. Jot them down, and we only want one or two or three maximum. Any more than that, if it's any more than you can comfortably remember and write down without notes, it's too many, and your buyer's not going to remember it either. So first of all, just consider high level. What is that? Secondly, we need to then name the problem. Give it a name. And it could literally just be the insert thing problem. So the foreign exchange problem, the weight loss problem. Had a client where we called it the symptom trap, where we focus on the symptoms and not the cause of the symptoms. But by giving it a name, and we don't need to get fancy, it just needs to be the, whatever the topic is, problem. The fact that it has a name is compelling, and it implies that you're so familiar with this thing that you've actually named it. You're so familiar you've actually named it, which is compelling. And if we go back to confidence, certainty, expertise, that's what we're looking for. So the first thing, name the problem that you solve. Secondly, we need to talk about what causes that problem. So why are we in this situation in the first place? So for me, simplifying complex offerings. So why do you have a complex offering in the first place? Well, you're using technology, you're using AI, using incredibly clever stuff to replace human beings. So we need to be able to articulate why the problem exists in the first place. So we name it the something problem. Then we talk about this is what causes that problem. And then we move to the final piece of the puzzle, which is how we solve that problem. So a very high level, 1, 2, 3-step process. This is how we solve it. So you've got the symptom trap. You've got the exchange rate problem, whatever it might happen to be. This is how we solve it. First we do this, then we do that, and then we do that. If you can get all of those three things together, so first of all, understand the problem that you solve. Name the problem that you solve. Talk about what causes it, and then talk about how you solve it. If you can do those things, and it doesn't even have to be to a very high standard, just the fact that you've got it, it's well rehearsed and versed, and you're not caught on the hop and you're not talking around the houses when you talk with a client or a potential buyer, trust me, you're going to be streets ahead of 99.9% of entrepreneurs, businesses, salespeople, certainly that I meet on a daily basis, because what is the problem that you solve is one of those classic questions that really stops people in their tracks. But your ability to answer that helps you to connect with buyers because they feel understood. They feel like you know what they're going through, but it also gives us that confidence, certainty, and expertise feeling, which again, that's what your buyer is looking for in order to trust you to buy from you. So today, consider the problem that you're solving, name it, talk about what causes it, talk in a very high level about how you solve it, put those three things together, and that will put you in really good stead and massively improve your confidence in particular when you're talking to potential buyers.